Cool. Hello and welcome, SuccessGrid Nation, to this new episode of the SuccessGrid podcast with your host, Hussein Talib. I hope you are all doing well. It's all great at this end with what's happening in the world right now. So hopefully you can all share the empathy with other people in the world. So in this episode, I have with me Lika. Lika is the founding partner of NOMOS, a full-service business law firm out in Tbilisi, Georgia. Key area include of business, corporate and business law, real estate, tax law, contract law, immigration laws, and investment laws. Lika helps businesses establish or entrepreneurs establish businesses in Georgia. She is the best lawyer for foreign entrepreneurs looking to get started in Georgia. Lika, welcome to the SuccessGrid podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome to have you here, Lika. So, first of all, you are Gen Z generation. Actually, I'm not, I don't know about these terms and definition of these millennials and G-Zens. I'm not into that, but from what I understand, the G-Zen women are like basically very young. I think they are like 25 maximum, something like that. They were born between 97 and 2007, maybe something like that. I'm not. Yeah, so you are young. So I want to ask you first, what inspired you to be an entrepreneur at such a young age and want to have a business of your own?
Yes, probably the fact that I always want to be something that would actually make me independent, that would actually give me the freedom. So entrepreneurship is the thing that does that for you. So basically it started off with me being very goal-oriented, very career-oriented, and also wanting to become something big. I got into law school and it was like my first decision towards it. And at that point of time, I never thought I would have my own law firm one day. But when I got into law school, I really was fond of business law. And after that, at the age of 24, I actually was employed by many law firms in here. So I gained the experience and knowledge. And this is a field where without experience and knowledge, your skills won't help, because knowledge and information is something that is a key point to success in this business. So basically, I launched my first law firm, LTI Legal Associates, which was with my best friends, actually, who were lawyers also. And after 2 years, I decided to go solo and form NOMOS. And yeah, here I am now.
Awesome. So, like, basically, what do you think some of the challenges and obstacles that you did not expect to face, and when you faced them, you actually stepped over them and conquered those obstacles in your career or business?
Yes, personal wise, it was the stress level. When you have your own business, you have responsibilities, and which comes with more things to do by yourself, because you are always alone. No matter how many people you have in your background, you're doing your business alone, right, as an entrepreneur. So basically stress, and also very much of the responsibilities towards your clients, towards yourself, towards your firm. So these are two main factors that I had to overcome and learn.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you work with your friends, and then you had decided to navigate things by yourself. Why did that happen? Do you think sometimes people, if they, like, for example, you were all lawyers, I guess, right? So yes, sometimes even similar minds don't work alike. So how does that work?
Yes. So basically, that was the thought of mine, to be more independent, to gain more freedom through my own company. So the decision-making process is always something that is sometimes problematic, not only in this particular case, but when there's a too much opinion thing going on, then it is really hard to maintain that focus. So I decided to go solo, and that there was like some other business factors that like helped me decide to go by my own.
That's great. So do you think that now where you are now, so how long have you been in business solo, I guess now?
It's been 1 year now, doing and being in NOMOS, but my experience counts 7 years in business law, in other law firms and my own law firm. So yeah, it's 1 year now.
So now in this 1 year, you're being solopreneur, I would say. So what are the decisions that do you think that are the most important things or decisions for you right now to make in order for you to be a success?
Yeah, so basically one obstacle that I had to overcome was that I am a lawyer, right? So I studied law, I expertise in law, I expertise in business law, and then you have to become, your mind has to also collect the knowledge of doing business, which is a different part, right? So you have to be all in one. So you have to also do business, and you have to be a lawyer, and you have to be excellent in both if you want your business to work. So sometimes I do prioritize business, and sometimes I prioritize law. So basically it depends on the circumstances.
Yeah, exactly. So because like you mentioned, you have to be, you are a lawyer who expert in that, but also at the same time, you are a business, you are operating a business. You're not just a lawyer who goes to court for cases and these kind of things. You basically help people in business establishment and these kind of things, and their taxes and multiple things. So there is a lot of things to juggle at the same time, I guess. So
Yes.
how do you get this help? Are there someone helping you in certain areas that you don't know about, for example?
Yes, of course. There are some things that I don't know about, which was like how to run a business, basically technical wise. So I have someone helping me with marketing, someone helping me with business advices, which is also sort of my partner, and also someone helping me with accountancy, which is like maintenance of the company. But the main things are done by me and my partner. So that was
now. So as a lawyer or as a business owner or entrepreneur in general, you have to have, I would say, some kind of relationships or network. So how do you approach networking and building relationship with other businesses similar to your business, or other lawyers that might be able to help you, or you can help them out, or even business owners or entrepreneurs that are maybe, let's say, maybe in the same area that you are in, that you can help each other out?
Yeah, so basically Tbilisi is a pretty small town. So like my classmates, which are like, we studied together in university, then we studied together in France for LLM, we've done masters together, so I know these people a lot, and I have a pretty close relationships with them. And also there are some things like networking wise, like conferences, you're doing your lectures, so I'm also like I always try to learn more. I always try to be to attend some seminars, attend some trainings, do the networking, and also gain the knowledge, because you have to be updated also with law. So basically, while doing that, I have gained many friends and colleagues from my experience and from doing all of that. So yeah, it doesn't take much effort to gain these type of acquaintances if you're trying hard enough, and if you are always attending new things. So I guess it's the main factor to be always present, and to try to communicate more.
So what do you think are the keys to your business success? Is it the network that you have, for example? Is it the knowledge that accumulated in both being a lawyer and learning about business? And is it about also, because in order to be successful in business, you have to eventually, let's say, make a sell to people, whether it's a product or a service, and you are providing a service. So how important is it to you to make new customers or retain new ones in your business? And how do you treat and how do you develop the relationship with your customers?
Yeah, so basically, referrals are the best case scenario, because once you've done some good work to your customers, they will always refer you to, and they will always advise you to somebody else. So that's the main thing you have to build. You have to build your network like that by your knowledge, by your service that you're providing. And also, I've mentioned that it is really hard to be businesswoman and also a lawyer at the same time, because sometimes you have to focus on sales too much, because you have a business to run, and sometimes you have to focus on the deals, sometimes you have to focus on actual cases with the clients, because like you have to be like in a very equal level in both areas. So and also marketing helps, like in other businesses, right? So you just sell yourself with marketing and PR, but I think main thing is to have a good service, and your service speaks for yourself by itself, right? So once you have a good knowledge, once there are some people, some certain people that know that you have that knowledge and you have that mind and you are good at problem solving, I think your service and your knowledge speaks by itself. So you don't have to do that much of sales and marketing, but it sure helps. Yeah.
Exactly. So what is the most portion or the biggest portion of your business involves? Is it like, for example, helping businesses? Is it about tax? What kind of business do you have the most portion of revenue, let's say?
So we are basically focusing on doing business in Tbilisi. So we help our clients with doing business, with their taxes, with forming a company, opening the bank accounts, with immigration, residency permits. We also help them with litigation, arbitration, real estate, and also investments. So, but our services focuses on business law. So it's a really broad field. So some people really ask me, like, what is the concrete? Like, what do you do concrete in concrete? But I think that anything related to civil law, we expertise in that, but mostly in business law, which is doing a business, which is corporate, and which is immigration and real estate.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay. So now, in general, now, if anyone wants to start their business or establish their business or move their business from any country in the world into Georgia, Tbilisi, Georgia, and specifically where you are right now, right? So,
Yes.
So what are, let's say, the steps, and would you personally recommend them to do that? And let's say, what is the advantages of having your business in Georgia?
Okay, I will start from the advantages, because it is the key point to move your business, which are the business friendly environments that Georgia has. We have customs and laws, which is really business friendly and adopted to foreign entrepreneurs, and also the taxes, low taxes, which is the first point and first thoughts that young or other entrepreneurs have to move their business to. It's like really low tax system, and also like the thought of living in the environment which gives you business opportunity and which gives you really great investment opportunity and low taxes, and at the same time it gives you really sophisticated living options, right? So I think the geographic situation of this country is also like really good, because you can access both Asian market and also European market. So it's like communication is really easy. So if I had to describe that, I would describe it as easy to do business. And we were actually ranked 7th in ease of doing business by the World Bank in, I think, 2019.
So globally, Georgia is the number 7 in ease of doing business.
Yes. So basically, to talk about taxes and to give you like an opinion about that, is that we have 15% of corporate taxes, we have 20% of personal income tax, we have 5% of dividends and interest rates, and we can also reduce it to 0% because we have Estonian model in corporate structure, which means that if you don't distribute the money out of your company, so if you don't take the dividend and if you reinvest your profit into the company, you're not taxed at all. So basically these laws were adopted for you to, it's like the attraction to attract more investments in here. So it actually, the purpose of it is like both sides have its advantages, right? So, and also we have VAT of 18%, and it's not taxed until you just reach at some point in your profit structure. So I think it is one of the best tax rates. Like we consider ourselves as Eastern European country, even though we are not in EU. And because in EU there's lots of regulation, really high taxes, as goes the same in the US. So I think it is the attraction that they have is mainly the taxes and sophisticated cultural and historical things that we have. Actually, it's not only about doing business. The attraction comes from our culture, also our people, and also how we tend to greet the foreign investors and foreigners in general. So yeah, I think it's all in one.
Yeah, that's amazing. So like I want to get like a little bit more specific. So like, for example, in this example that you mentioned, if the business or the company keeps reinvesting, basically there is like no tax, right? So but what if this company wasn't like has multiple employees? Let's say from what we are seeing now, like it was one entrepreneur or one business that has and operates one only solo entrepreneur, like for example. So how would that work? Will that work the same as if you don't distribute money to yourself or pay yourself? Will that also be the same case and reduce taxes, for example?
Basically, you as a shareholder have different rights, and you as a director have different rights, right? So if you are owner of the company, you might as well, and if you're a solo, you might as well be the director of the company, right? So you pay yourself as a salary as the director, but you own the company as a shareholder and the partner, right? So I think that in this case, like you don't distribute money as the owner, as the partner, but you do pay yourself, right? As the director. So you sort of distribute the money as a salary, but you don't distribute the profit. So legally, it is like two different things. You are still being paid by your company as the director or as an employee, and you can still own the company at the same time and be sole partner, and then don't distribute the company until it's the right time to do it.
So how would you advise people, like, there are multiple levels, or like LLCs, partnerships, solopreneurship, these kind of names for different kind of companies. So what is the best thing for small business, or like I mentioned, one solopreneur to register in? And what are, like, for example, the registration fees, I assume, right? Like, because when you want to register a business in any country in the world, you would have to pay some fees annually or something like that, right?
Yeah, so basically, I would advise for small and medium businesses to do LLC or individual entrepreneurship. For LLC, your corporate taxes will be, as I mentioned, 15% and 5% for dividends. These 15% is not payable, and also the 5% if you don't distribute the money. So basically, you can get 0% on that. If you're a sole entrepreneurship, you have some limits by the government, which is like yearly profit. If you don't exceed your yearly profit, and if it's up to $500,000 Georgian gel, then you can maintain small business status company, like sole entrepreneurship company, and you can pay only 1%. In this case, instead of 20%. So in this case, you sort of distribute the profit and you still pay 1% because you're a sole entrepreneurship, it's not a company. So basically, I recommend these two. And if there is a structure which is like up to 50 partners, I recommend LLC. And after 50 partners, you actually have the obligation to form or change the form of the company to joint stock company, JSC.
Yeah,
So basically, also an obligation, and also my advice to do that if you are like more than 50 shareholders. So yeah, we can.
Yeah. So that now also building a company, like, or having a company there, it has also to do with the place where you live. So do you think that it is easy for businesses, for example, is it easier or better in general to rent properties or places there, or buildings, or maybe buy some properties there?
I would definitely recommend buying, because now I think real estate is also, if you do not use it as an office, you can always rent it out, right? So I think now the real estate business is thriving in here because there's a lot of interest. So the market is really alive. So basically, I recommend investing in real estate, because if your business doesn't work out, and if you don't need an office in here, and if you decide to change the country, change the option for your relocation, I think that your business investment, as in real estate, will work perfectly, and it's really profitable, and you can rent it out long term, or in Airbnb and other platforms are like doing also great in here. So I think every investment should be wise. So you have to invest wisely. So you have to have plan A and plan B. So I think that is why buying your office or buying a place where you can build your office or maintain your office is also a good idea, because if it doesn't work out, then you can rent it out and have a passive income from your real estate in here.
So I don't know, from what you are seeing now in your country, in the city that you are in, Tbilisi, so what do you think, or if someone came and asked you, Lika, what would you say? I want to open a business. What would you recommend me to open?
Probably LLC, and also I will ask you, like, limited liability company, but probably I will ask you, what are your thoughts about your profits? Yeah, so if you say I'm going to have small business, that I would definitely recommend individual entrepreneurship, because it is less taxes. You pay only 1%. You get a small business certificate, and if you tend to exceed this $500,000 per year, then I would recommend LLC, because the structure of LLC, and why I like to recommend that, is that your you don't really have contractual obligations and responsibilities towards third parties, because the company is an object and subject of law by itself. So you are sort of like behind the company. So you're not liable for the things that the company does with the clients. You're not liable financially, of course, right? So I think it is really clever and smart structure, and everybody's choosing LLC now, not because it's trendy, I think because it's just clever. So, but if you tend to have a small business, then I would definitely recommend IP. I mean, IE, individual entrepreneurship, for the tax purposes.
Yeah. So from your own experience, what would you like, for example, ask you, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to have my own business, or someone your age, or let's say younger maybe than that, female or even males ask you to do that. So what would you advise them to do, or what would you advise them to start with, and how to start? And would you tell them like the best time to start is like now, for example, if they want to start your own business, whatever it is, if it is feasible idea or not a feasible idea, good idea or not a good idea?
I think it is a best idea to do it now, because now all the markets are thriving, all the fields are like pretty much thriving, which is manufacturing, which is real estate, which is stocks, crypto is not taxed here. So everything at the same time happening, which is profitable for all. But I would also recommend to do your research until you start, because some people come here and have different expectations. Right. So until you get the consultations from the lawyers, from the tax experts, from the people who actually have done business here, like their opinion, their reviews on the country and on the business itself, I think it is very important to do your own research and also have the help of the professionals. So these two combined will make you decide whether Georgia is a good idea for you or not, because for some people it's not a good idea at all.
Yeah. So for example, do Georgian people in general speak English, or is it not that much spoken language there? That might be important.
Language, yes, definitely. Some people do not do it professionally. Some people have the basic knowledge of English, but it doesn't make communications hard. I think Georgia is, well, the older generation speaks more Russian because it is like a Soviet country, and new generation speaks more English. So I don't think communication will be an issue here. As I haven't heard anybody speak on that matter.
Awesome. Yeah, and English in general is becoming, especially more international language, and more. Yeah, in general. So now, what would you say some of the best resources or tools or even books that you personally look for, use, or read?
I actually like to read articles about how to become, like, I focus on law. I focus on newsletters about law. I actually have my email attached to many newsletters, many daily news. So I try to be very update. So I recommend to do so. If you are in law, you have to be, you have to know not only local law, but you have to know like what's going on in UK courts, what's going on in US courts, what's going on in the world. So not politically, but basically on your field. So you don't have to be expert in everything, but it's also really good to have this common knowledge of like how does the attorney in UK handle the cases, and like the comparison between you and UK lawyers and solicitors. So I think I try to have this common knowledge, and I try to always maintain that part in my life, because it's really hard to run a business and it's really hard to have the time and actually spend the time on reading, on researching, but it is really part of the process, because without it you won't grow, and without it you won't grow your business. And also, like, time flies and you have to have your agenda, you have to have your daily routine. And I just, instead of like scrolling the TikTok, I prefer sometimes, not all the time, I'm not gonna lie, but sometimes to scroll through this news and just be up to date.
Yeah, it's important, like you mentioned, like, for example, if someone comes to you and let's say they want to compare countries, when you have this kind of international knowledge between your country and other countries, you kind of have some kind of competitive advantage, I guess. It's good to
Yes,
know.
and also I've heard a lot of stories from my clients, like we have a good communication. So, and I've heard a lot of stories about the other lawyers which are in Serbia, in other countries, you know, in Romania, in Western countries, in US, and how they deal with the cases. So it is like really important to me to know like what they're expecting of me, because some people here like ask me, are you an attorney or are you a lawyer? Because in US, if you are a lawyer, you have to go through attorney things that we go through here, but in Tbilisi it's not like that. If you want to be a lawyer, it is pretty common to just graduate and then have your degree and you become a lawyer. But if you want to be an attorney, you have to go through bar exams, and it's not the same in US. So I think these type of not only technical things, but I like to get into also court cases, because like when I compare, like my horizon of thinking just broadens, and I think that is like what you should do as a young lawyer.
Yeah, that's amazing. That thing that you mentioned there, the last sentence, broaden your horizon. You will have different perspective, new ideas, find new opportunities, whether for yourself or your business. You have to keep developing and seeing certain things here and there to improve your business. So that without that also, that won't happen unless you have like a view of things that's happening around you. You cannot just be or working same time all the time in the same place that you are working on all the time. You have to open your eyes everywhere, especially nowadays. Everything is open with the internet, and with everything is open and mostly free. So that's a good
Exactly. So I
thing.
think nowadays we have the best possibility to get the information really quickly through Google, through websites, through calls. So I like to ask questions also. I also ask questions because when I'm interested, I'm asking more questions. So I think it's the best way to get to know something, to ask as many questions as you can. So I think it just helps your knowledge just grow. And
Definitely. So, Lika, would you share something that not a lot of people know about you, something with the SuccessGrid Nation that not a lot of people know about you?
like a secret?
Maybe, or something that some kind of passion or a hobby that nobody knows about you, not many people know.
Many people actually don't know that I was into movies more than law. So when I was deciding to actually to choose the profession, I was really into movies, and I was really into being the director of movies, to direct the movies, to produce the movies. So basically the Hollywood movies was like a pretty new thing when I was growing up. And actually that is how I learned English, through movies. And I was really into it. So the last minute I decided to change it because it was not industrial. So it was not the industry in here. So I was like, if I go somewhere like US, like in UK or other country, I may become something, but then you think about like realistically, and you decide to do whatever is close to you, more realistic. So yeah, I was this close to becoming to choosing another profession, actually.
Hopefully you chose, I'm sure you chose the best thing for
Definitely.
you to do. Yeah. And also I know I read somewhere that you also speak 5 languages, or that is something I misread. Do you speak like 5 languages?
I do speak Russian, English, German, and Georgian. I also know a bit of Turkish, not in a professional way, not in a fluent way, but I do get a lot of Turkish.
So do you think also, because you speak like almost 5 languages, so do you think languages helps people to learn more about other cultures and businesses? Because when you're talking about Georgia and I'm in Jordan, so there is a lot of things that might be different in other countries, but at the same time similar. So how important do you think learning language is important also?
Definitely. I think when you are learning language, a new one, you also learning their culture, because there are some books that are adopted to know the language and also know their culture. So basically, you are not only learning their like a new language, but you are entering this like new cultural phase in your life. And then with traveling, I think when I was studying German, I traveled and I went to Berlin just to hear like how they spoke, just to take like the phrases. And I try to, I had like really bad German at that time, but I try to, speak their language and like be there and be present. So I think it also helps with traveling, and also it has helped me with clients, because once you speak their language, I think the trust you gain is like you are gaining more trust in them, because like if I saw someone speaking my language, I would be like, yes, yeah, like I would definitely choose someone who speaks a lot of language, because I know they're international, and I know they're like multicultural, which is like really important nowadays to me.
Yeah, exactly. So do you think there's something in our speak here that we missed that might be important that you can point out?
Well, yes, I think a lot of people nowadays thinking about relocation, and I think everybody has to do their research, because we live in an era where you're not stable anywhere. So I think having different options, having different businesses in different countries, and having options to have different homes at the same time is like really important to everybody. And as long as people realize it, they will do better, I think, and they will be more calm in themselves, because when you have an options like, look what is going on now in the world, like there is a war and people are trying to seek new home, seek new businesses. They really had lives there, right? So they are now trying to relocate in a way that is not, the best way to do it. So I think this is the best option, is to like start now and choose your second home and do your research. And I think relocation of your businesses and also expanding your business is a really good idea. So I think everybody should think about this matter at some point.
Yeah, exactly. So for foreign entrepreneurs looking to get started in Georgia, where can people get in touch with you so you can help them out? I might be one of them, you don't know. I was actually looking
Yeah,
good.
so basically,
So how do
you can contact us at our email, which is www.nomosgeorgia.com. And our email is info@nomosgeorgia.com. And through this, we can communicate and book a consultation and have meetings, and then we can start an actual service for you.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Lika, for being here today with me on this episode of the Success
Thank you
Grid
for having
podcast.
me.
Fun episode and informative. Thank you.
Thanks so much.